And we're recording.
So, with the new tardy policy, why did we change it?
So with the new tardy policy, why did we change it? One of the biggest challenges at Kettering has been maintaining the integrity of the teaching and learning environment, meaning that class is starting on time and then going from what we call bell to bell. And so when a student is walking in late to class, and say it's 3 or 5 minutes into class, what does everyone naturally do? They look at the door. And so the tardy policy is really meant to just have that focus about incentivizing students to get to class on time. It really puts a focus on teaching and learning, and it's a system that we feel as a staff that we can manage and stay on top of.
Do other schools that you know of use this specific policy?
You know what, if you ask 10 different schools what they do for tardies, you'll get 10 different answers. You know, some will have someone literally like stamping passes as you walk in. Some will actually have where students walk into the classroom and swipe their student ID and it actually time stamps just like a punch clock at work. We thought when all the money and the resources that we wanted to put toward it, this was a very low cost, high impact system that we wanted to basically put in place for this year. Our hall monitors, Mr. Logan and Ms. Harnack came up with this, we brought it to administration, and we thought it brought all the pieces together from Ms. Rodriguez, our attendance secretary, to our administrative team for support, and then our hall staff.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
What differences have you noticed?
Monumental difference, and hopefully if you ask any students here, they would say the same thing. Teachers at Kettering, one thing that they've always done naturally, and it's a high yield strategy, is they greet students typically at the door and they're in the hallways. Compared to most high schools, I think you'll find our teachers are in the hallways. And so the nice thing is when teachers are there, they're greeted by students, the students are greeted by their teacher when they go into class. And then when class starts, doors are shut, and then we're rocking and rolling. And if you're in the hallways like we are still, you'll notice that they are crystal clear in terms of there's no one, you can see up and down them with no one in the way because the students are in class.
So you said that Mr. Logan and then Ms. Harnack were the ones who brought the idea to you. Did you as an administrative leader ask for suggestions, or did they just come to you on their own?
You know, so the question is, did Mr. Logan and Ms. Harnack come to us, or did we request their feedback? We actually knew that this was something we had to tackle, and so we brought that up to our staff and to our team, and this is one thing they came to us and said, hey, we have an idea of how to streamline our efforts. In a time where money is tight and resources are limited, this was something that they took it upon themselves to go above and beyond, and it's really stepped up. So no, they came to us with some initiative, and we're really proud of them for it.
So what goals do you think we're trying to achieve with the new policy?
The biggest thing is we need students in class on time to maintain the teaching and learning environment. We really want to maintain the integrity of the class when it starts all the way to it finishes with as little distractions as possible. Our student achievement is on the rise, but if we're going to continue to have that ascension, we need to put these things in place.
So is there actually data that proves that we've seen differences within the first 1 to 3 weeks from past years and this year's attendance?
The first data is perception data, which is a little bit more casual. It's just simply the observation in the hallways. And people who have been around will say that, wow, when the bell rings, students are in class. The actual technical data, what's in the system, you have a couple scheduling changes. You can have a couple false positives this time of year with students still learning the way where Kettering's at. But this is something that as the weeks go on, we'll be able to have some comparative data and some trend data for the last couple of years.
Gotcha. And then, so you said this morning you were announcing no one has gotten a 5 yet within last week. Mm-hmm. But have there been students that have had 5 tardies already within the school year?
Within the school year, I would bet there might be a few. The first week, we don't believe in counting them because people are finding their way. So this is actually, I guess you'd say day number 6 because we had 5 last week. The first week of 4, we didn't count that. And so now with the 6th day, we'd have to see what the stuff is. You will always have, we all have that friend that's always late to the movies or that are always late picking us up. There's people like that are at Kettering High School. So there are a few, which I'm guessing are getting pretty close if they're not there already by the end of the day.
Gotcha. Awesome.
Did you talk about the parking passes at all? If you're late with the parking passes, ask something about that. If you have 5 or more tardies, isn't it? You get your parking pass.
What are the consequences if you reach 5?
So one of the things is that we really have to do is that there's the natural consequences, the detention, which, if students are late to class, it's kind of making up that time of how do we do that in a very constructive way. The biggest thing is that driving to school is a privilege. We have those big yellow taxis in the form of buses that go around, And those are guaranteed to have students here on time, or most of the time they'll be on time. Occasionally you do have a late bus. If students who are driving here are constantly late, they will forfeit the right to drive here, and we will provide school bus transportation for them. Again, we really have to have people on time. It's what students here deserve. It's the environment that we have to strive for, and if we're going to hit our ambitious student achievement goals and compete in a global society, we've got to get there.
Okay.
Yeah.